Definitely some gorgeous areas along this old rail line. Well, of course, it happens when I turn the camera off. Just showed you the Memorial Highway down there. Turn the camera off, and look what we just passed. Yep, there is water in there. Here's more ties. 100% unmistakable. There's something down here I think we need to check out. Somehow, this slipped under my radar. Well, I'm here today to find out what it has to offer. To see what we're gonna be doing back there, all you need to do is come along with me. If you can't tell, this is a rail trail. It's known officially as the Back Mountain Trail. And it's also dubbed the gateway to the Back Mountain. Right behind me there is the starting or ending point, depending on which direction you're going, and that's Perry Street, P-A-R-R-Y, in Luzerne, Pennsylvania. We're heading this way into Dallas, Pennsylvania, which is known as the Back Mountain area. Now, as I said, this trail slipped my radar. I didn't even know it existed. It wasn't until I was browsing a website about things around the area and this trail was mentioned, and I'm like, how did I know about this? I usually know about most of the rail trails in and around my area. This one definitely slipped my radar. But what I do know about it though, is that this was at one time a private railroad built and created by lumber and ice king Albert Lewis. Now, if you have been following my channel for any length of time, that name may sound familiar because I actually did a video about him and his burial location a number of years ago. So if you haven't seen that video, I will link it down below in the description. In 1887 though, Lehigh Valley Railroad took over this line and it operated up until 1963. Now it is known as the Back Mountain Trail, and I don't know much about it other than what the line used to be, and it's advertised to be scenic, not too far from the population area, but there's going to be some waterfalls, supposedly anyways, some waterfalls. But supposedly there's some waterfalls, some wildlife, and I'm not sure if there's anything left of the old railroad days. Since it's from so long ago, I'm guessing probably not, but we're gonna keep our eyes peeled anyways. Also at the same time, I am riding a brand new piece of equipment, which I will talk about and tell you more about later on in the video. So without wasting more time, let's get moving and see what the Back Mountain Trail has to offer. And we are off. This is a packed down, crushed gravel section of trail here. We'll see if it does change as we do go throughout. Immediately, you're gonna notice it's really shady, which I am loving. And we finally have a decent weather day here in Pennsylvania where it's in the upper 70s and lower humidity. It's like a literal breath of fresh air. Do notice some sloping on the right hand side going upwards. You're gonna be on the lookout for any foundations, for towers, buildings, and speaking of which, we just came upon our first one. Right here on our left hand side is a signal post. So that's what we're gonna be keeping our eyes out for. More than just concrete foundations though, we want to find something more substantial. And directly across from it, we do have something here. Large concrete and stone block wall with a post here as well. So looks like almost like a bridge abutment, but it's not, because it's actually different levels, different tiers. So you got the stone plateaus, concrete plateaus, stone and or concrete. It's about 3 or 4 different levels. So we're looking at maybe just retention, maybe something was mounted up on top. Could have been maybe a coal tipple back in the day for filling the locomotives with coal. But not far into this, already coming across some findings from the past. Yeah, just to show, it actually goes way up there. There is, looks like almost a curvature of stone and concrete. So it's more than just retention. I think things were mounted or placed here back in the day, whether it be structures or equipment, but it's more than just retention, especially where there's different plateaus here. So interesting to say the least that we're finding something so quickly on the gateway to the Back Mountain Trail. And from what I've read, this trail is open to walkers, runners, bicyclists, people walking their dog. The only thing that's not allowed, obviously, is vehicles, ATVs, motorcycles, but e-bikes are definitely allowed. And we're passing our first quarter-mile section of trail. And I think, too, there's going to be a spot or two where we do have to cross a road or go down a section of road to pick up another part of this trail. So it's not going to be one continuous path from what I understand, but we'll see how that plays out as we do come upon it. Definitely rose in elevation. Down to the left is a freeway down there, and also I believe Toby Creek. And if that is the creek I'm thinking of, that was actually talked about a lot in the news last year when a mine subsidence opened up in that creek, and the creek was literally flowing right into the opening, flooding the mines, and downwards from the creek it was almost completely dry. So that was covered in the news a lot because of that big undertaking to fill it in. I think even during filling it in, it opened back up. So it was a big project to seal that up. But that was, I believe, right down there in that area along that creek. I'm also liking, too, that this trail is posted every quarter mile. So we just passed the half-mile section. Nice wide section of trail. Hopefully we'll get away from the noise of the traffic. But so far, seems like a decent area with a nice manicure trail. All right, we're going through a rock cut section here. This would have been blasted away to make room for the train to come through. And yes, indeed, we do have drill markings right there. There's a clear one to the right, there's one over there. 100% confirmation this was drilled and blasted for the railroad days back in the 1800s. Must be someone's, oh, there's a big water tower there, water tank. So this is property boundary for it. So we're gonna go right around it. You can see it off to the left there. Oh, we have a bridge up here. I hear moving, rushing water. Is this the waterfall they advertised? I think so. I think we need to make a pit stop. So that's where we just came from, and there is indeed a waterfall. Now, it's not one big lengthy waterfall, it's basically little cascading falls. And I think we could get down there, get a closer look at it, but this bridge does go right over it. Would have been a train bridge back in the day. And this water, I believe, is flowing right down into Toby Creek. Even has a nice seating area here, and come down this little pathway, and you're basically down here right the same level as the water. So we're gonna walk out into the middle here, and there she is. Lots of large boulders here, and the water is just coming down different sides, different parts of it. About as close as I could get without getting my feet wet. Can't really tell, but it starts way up there. The view is obstructed by the rocks and the trees, but it's coming down from a good ways up. Little cascading tiers. I don't know if there's an official name to this. If there is, I'll put it on the screen, but they did advertise waterfalls along the back mountain trail, and we're only about a mile into it, and we came upon it. And there's the bridge we just rode over. You can tell it's not the original one. They do have some stone reinforcement here, fenced in, a little concrete abutment, and wood planks. So it's a newly constructed bridge, most likely specifically for the rail trail, but at one time, it may have either been steel or wooden bridge going across here, and I don't know if there's one, like a single or a double line. If we do determine that, maybe we'll find that out, but right now, just kind of stating the obvious of what we do see, what it's looking like today. But we have a lot more ground to cover, so let's keep moving. After leaving the waterfall, we actually are climbing an elevation, going up a slight slope here. Fork in the trail. Looks like that may be another access point right down there, a trailhead. I believe that's all that is. I will say this trail, although it's pretty well manicured, it's not the smoothest trail I've ever been on. There are some different sized rocks, and for the most part it's packed down. There are some rougher areas. So I will say that any kind of bike can ride this trail, but if you have smaller, skinnier tires, it may be a rougher ride. Having the fat tires definitely aids in comfort and is handling this pretty well, but I can understand that not everyone has e-bikes or fat tire bikes, but this seems like a pretty capable trail for nearly any type of bike and any experience of bicyclist. We are literally above the roadway. It's pretty noisy here. We got power lines in front of us with a big clearing. It's definitely not shady in this area, but we have a decently long straightaway as well. A bit more overgrown here. There's still benches, but not as manicured with the weeds. Welcome to Dallas, Pennsylvania. It's right down there on our left. I believe the road down there at the intersection will take you back towards Harvey's Lake. And we have a bunch of businesses and a lot of noise going on down there. So maybe this trail is going to parallel this road and this environment the entire way. And this section is newly worked. There's fencing here. There's big retention stones up here for probably water, I'm guessing. And they're filling in, looks like concrete down there, aggregate. Oh no, that's stone. Little tiny stone around piping. There's underground tanks. I wonder if they're putting in a gas station here. Yeah, Memorial Highway down there. That's Route 309, as I know it. Well, of course, it happens when I turn the camera off. Just showed you the Memorial Highway down there. Turn the camera off, and look what we just passed. The most humongous 55-gallon drum I've ever seen. Although it's not what it is, that's what it does resemble. It looks almost identical to that. This is a good-sized tank. I'm wondering if there's a type of water filling station for the locomotives. It's not your typical water tower you'd see. It is pretty much primarily made out of steel. There's a small pipe coming out of the top. There's an opening down bottom here where water is coming out of it. We're gonna try to get up behind it and see if we could get a better vantage point, even a glimpse inside. But at first glance, I've never come across something like this along the railroad. If it is for water, it seems either primitive or like custom made for the private railroad, because like I said, it's not your traditional water filling station. Okay, we are up above it and behind it, and it's actually capped off, and there's a pipe right here just laying there. Yeah, I guess it's a water filling station, a water tower, just not your traditional looking one. It just looks like the world's largest 55-gallon drum. No openings other than the little one in the front where water is coming out, trickling out. I was mistaken. Water is not coming out from the inside. It's coming around the side of it. And that's a big spider web. And I think there's actually water inside. Yep, there is water in there. It's about 2-3 inches of water. It's heavily rotted out. I mean, it can't hold water anymore. It would leak right out. Upper portion's in better shape than the bottom. Maybe this is harnessing a natural spring source. Water's coming from somewhere. Maybe that pipe we saw coming down has something to do with it as well. But regardless, if you have any thoughts you'd like to share, by all means, leave them down below. But this is bolted together section by section as it's assembled. So it's not riveted, it is nuts and bolts. So that could maybe help with some dating of the age. Oh, a little washout area. Noticing some stone walls on the right hand side. Looks like property boundaries from back in the day. There's also numerous little side trails branching off as well. Little hiking trails. Still paralleling Memorial Highway though. And as many times I've driven that road, I had no idea this was up here. Never mind that it was even a former railroad. Yeah, there's some definite more washed out areas here. Still navigable, but not as pristine as what we've had so far. There's little root systems. Oh! Is that a railroad tie? Or is that... Yeah, I think that's a wooden tie right there. There might be a few of them here. This trail changed significantly. Yep, here's more ties. 100% unmistakable. We have railroad ties. There's even a bunch more of them right here on our right hand side. So not everything was removed. That's gives me hope that we may find more, such as spikes, some plates, J-hooks, or maybe even a section of rail. That's what I think more rail trails should have, is more remnants from the past. Not rip up and raise everything and make it like an unrecognizable trail. Leave things from behind, because that's how it started. So here we have some mangled up metal, some concrete sections here, corrugated piping there. Not saying it's part of the railroad, but it is there along the trail. And we do have a public road up here, so I think we're just going to be staying to the left of it. The trail does continue, but this looks like another access point if you want to come down a further section of the trail. Okay, we're going through some people's backyards here. I mean, not literally through their backyards, but passing right next to them. Oh, they have some nice areas here. A little pond feature off to the right. Stone walls and columns. Big drop off down to our left. So these people have direct access here if they wanted to use this trail. Okay. We got steps here. You know what? I think I made a wrong turn. I think this is another trail access trailhead, and this is going to take us down to the road. That's not where we want to go. I think I need to go back and get back on the road. Well, at least we know there's another access point. This is going to take us down. Let's see on Google Maps where we are. So this comes down right behind the Luzerne County Magistrate District, and the roadway is Carverton Road and obviously Memorial Highway. So there's an intersection down here. That's where this is coming out, but that's not where we want to go. Actually, I'm getting confused now. I do see a couple sections of the trail down there close to 309. Maybe that is the way we have to go. Well, apparently I am incorrect again. That's why I do double check. So I thought we had to get onto that road that we went really close to, and we stayed left on the trail. At first glance, I thought this was just another trailhead access area, which it is, but the trail actually does continue down this way. So we need to navigate down here past the steps, which I'll do off camera. It's going to bring us down there behind the magistrate office, Carverton Road, and there should be another trail access point down there. I was looking for signs, because there has been signs for the most part up until now, and I thought maybe there'd be something saying trail continues down this way. but I haven't seen any of that. So I'm gonna get the bike down there safely and we'll pick up with the next area. Oh, this is indeed the trail. And they actually have ramps put in for getting your bike up and down the steps. So obviously the train didn't come down this way, so it looks like maybe the area was just heavily altered after the rail service existed. Actually, maybe we have evidence of it up here. So this is not the way that we want to go, but I do want to show you what is down here, because it looks like maybe the line came down this way at one time. I could be mistaken, but this does look like bridge abutments back here. Either that or just another series of retention walls, but they're in series of each other, little plateaus, but possibly looks like it could have been a rail line that came across here. So we came down there right by Subway, behind the magistrate office, and we're gonna keep going this way because here's the arrow, the sign, Back Mountain Trail to the right. So we're gonna be on the sidewalk area here for a little bit, and we should get back on another section of the trail. So at least they're not forcing you to ride on the road, which is good. And right here is the trail section. Again, had no clue about this. Now, I don't believe this is the actual part of the rail line here. I think this is just a section that they maybe created to make this trail longer. So we're now down here 2 3/8 mile. We're now down here along, that might be Toby Creek still. So what I'm going to do for my confirmation and for yours, I'm going to pull up my rail guide app and see if indeed this was another section of the rail line. We know where we were previously was. We found rail ties. But is this just a trail, or did trains come through here? Let's find that out right now. Okay, yep. I suspected this is not where the trains went. This is just listed as the Back Mountain Rail Trail. And if I go through the different map images, different settings, there's nothing showing what used to be. So where we came from obviously was, but not today. So it has definitely changed over time. Yeah, right there showing Lehigh Valley. That's above the steps. Lehigh Valley would have continued. Yeah, that was a bridge abutment. That crossed over right next to Pizza Perfect. The train crossed over Carverton Road. My suspicions were correct. That's where the line continued to go. So that is a former bridge abutment. That's why we went down the steps, getting away from that, because it was no longer accessible. They didn't make a bridge going across Carverton Road to continue the trail. We're now on basically a detour, bypassing it. But looks like we may pick back up with it. So depending on how this trail goes, I think we're gonna get back on the Lehigh Valley line up here at Harris Hill Road. So this is just a little detour. It is still gonna be primarily following the rail line, but I'm glad we confirmed, thanks to the rail guide app, that was a bridge abutment, and we know which way the line went. Yeah, we just came from that direction. I noticed this little trail shooting off. There's something down here I think we need to check out. Just came down that little offshoot, parked the bike because ready to see what's down here. A big waterfall slide. I don't know if that's bedrock or man-made, but I want to get down there and check it out. May even be a pool of water, maybe an area worth exploring in the future. I don't know if there's an easy way down, but I'm gonna get down there. We'll check it out together, see what it's like. Well, here we are. Look at that. This is solid bedrock. This is natural. And that looks like a really fun water slide. Oh, look at, there's a tunnel up there. I think we may have just hit a little jackpot area. I think 100% I need to return to the future. Not only to slide down there, but to do some wading and some snorkeling down there as well. This looks like an absolutely pristine, gorgeous area. Water is nice and clear. I can see right to the bottom, it's a few feet deep. Maybe able to find some crawfish or some fish down there, but definitely worthy of snorkeling. But yeah, I could have a lot of fun mounting you guys, first person view, getting some side perspectives, getting a little bit of air time over that little bunny hop, and splashing right down into the water. That looks like a heck of a lot of fun, but let's head upstream, take a closer look at that tunnel. I keep repeating myself, but again, I had no idea these things existed back in this area. Man, that is picture perfect. What a gorgeous sight. That's a fairly old tunnel. I see some stonework on the inside. Looks like they maybe added onto it to widen it back in the day with concrete. Do see a pipe back there. And again, if I was prepared for this, I could just walk right up there into it. Which means, based on your feedback, I could return and make a video of this location. I also see some old, looks like maybe a pipeline going across as well. I'm returning regardless, but again, if you want me to return and share it with you, well, you know what to do. Comment section is for you guys. As you guys know, I absolutely love areas like this. It's natural. We got the water flow. We got a tunnel up there. And I wouldn't have known about it, never would have found it, if we didn't explore the Back Mountain Trail. A location that slipped my radar up until now, but now that we found it, we know there's things worth returning to. So far, I'm loving this location. Right now, I'd like to take a few minutes of your time to tell you about today's mode of transportation. If you do wish to skip this portion of the video, just go to the timestamp on the screen to continue with today's adventure. But taking me on today's adventure on the Back Mountain Rail Trail is the Ebike Ranger S. Now this is a foldable compact bike with some great features. Now there's two variations of this bike. There's a 750 watt version and this is the 1000 watt version. So for starters, powering this is a 48 volt 14.4 amp hour removable battery, which is in the top portion of the frame here, which keeps it nice and protected, easy to remove. It does power the rear 1000 watt hub motor. It does peak out at 1800 watts. Stopping power is hydraulic disc brakes, great stopping power. Rides on 20 by 4 inch wide fat tires. Front fork suspension, no rear suspension, but it has a terrific seat. Nice, thick, wide padded seat. I'll give it a 4.5 out of 5 rating. I really like the seat on this bike. Comes standard with the rear rack, front and rear fenders, foldable pedals. Of course, the bike does fold in half. Right down here is the release. Folds right there. And then when you want to get it even more compact, handlebars fold down as well. So this is easy to transport. You don't need a bike rack or a trailer. But you have to keep in mind, it does weigh in at 72 pounds. It's got a little bit of weight to it. Nothing terrible, but for a folding bike, it's got some weight to it. But it has a massive payload capacity of 400 pounds. So if you are a heavier rider, or you want to carry some gear on this rear rack, this bike is going to be capable of doing so. And with that 1000 watt motor, it's great power to weight ratio. This can certainly get up to speed pretty quick. This has an estimated top speed of 28 miles an hour, which I have confirmed it does indeed do that. And an estimated range of 55 miles, which I can tell you doesn't do that, at least not for me. Now, I personally got close to 25 miles on this before the battery died, but as I have learned is that these batteries sometimes need to get broken in. They need a few charge cycles to perform better, so although I only got close to 25 miles, there is a good chance it could go above and beyond that after a few charge cycles, as those battery cells do kind of level out and distribute the power more equally. But the range is going to depend on the rider's size, the terrain, and pedal assist use. Now, aside from having some great features that we're going to talk about, this actually has a torque sensor. So as you already know, I love torque sensors. I can leave it in a high pedal assist mode and pedal as slow or as fast as I want without having to change gears or pedal assist mode. So it allows you ultimate flexibility for control over this bike and the most realistic feeling to pedaling a traditional bike. Now, I did select the red burgundy color, but there are actually a few different color options available for this bike as well, so you can have your own personal color choice for the Ranger S. But come on over, let's go over the controls and the display. Now, for grips, it does have padded imitation leather grips, nice stitching on it. They're not the best grips, but they are sufficient. Now, coming over, we do have multiple buttons and different things going on here. So we have your dedicated headlight button, turn signals, horn, your main control module with 2 top buttons, plus and minus, your bottom button, which is power, and there's a few more buttons on the inside here. So to power it on, just gonna long press the power button there. Power's on, and on your display here, you do have your battery icon. There's no percentage, it is battery bars. Miles per hour, you do have trip, odometer, max speed, average speed, and you can toggle that by hitting the top inner button. So we'll take you through there. And it's nice that the trip does not reset when the bike shuts off. You have to manually reset it by holding down the top inner button and the minus button. That will reset the trip. So here's the horn. Again, dedicated headlight button. Turn signals do work. And there's also a bottom button here, which I thought was for the headlight because it has a headlight icon. Well, when you press that, you get a headlight icon and it dims the screen. That's all that button is for dimming the screen. So if you're riding at nighttime, you don't want the display as bright, it just dims it with that button. Most bikes do dim automatically when the headlight comes on. This one has a dedicated dimming button. And over here is your right-hand thumb throttle, and this button says auto. Well, that's for the automatic headlight. I thought it was cruise control, but it's for the headlight system. So when that's activated, the headlight will automatically come on in a dim environment. Otherwise, if you don't want to use that, you can just manually use the switch there. 7-speed Shimano gear system, adjustable handlebar height, so you can raise or lower them depending on your preference. Big headlight. So right there, you can see. And when you have your turn signals on, you got front right there. You do have adjustable lockout front fork suspension. There is your key slot right there for unlocking the battery, and your charging port is right there, so you can charge the battery while it's in the bike. But again, I love that the battery's on the top side of the frame, not the bottom. It's much easier to remove and protects the battery from getting hit with rocks or sticks or anything like that. Coming around to the back, when the bike is on, that does illuminate as hey bike right there. Now when you do turn the headlight on, get your tail light, brakes, it does flash, and there is your turn signals. So really great visibility to alert others around you as to when you're stopping, turning, and allows you to be more visible at night as well. So absolutely love that it has all these lights on it. Now you may see it flickering on camera. It doesn't do that in real life. That's just due to the frame rate of the camera. Now if you're curious as to how small this bike gets when you do fold it up, well, I will demonstrate that for you now. I'm gonna power it off. So first thing you want to do is get your pedals, fold them in half. That makes it a little bit more flat when it's laying down in your car. And from there, we're going to unlatch the bike itself. So we're going to break it in half there, and I'll actually come this way so you can see. And also I learned too, the hard way, is that even when the bike's powered off, there's still power to the bike. Right now the headlight's still on because I didn't shut the switch off. So you can run your battery down if you forget to shut your headlight off, even though the bike is turned off. So as we fold the bike in half here, it has a little spot to kind of rest down. Go to unlock the handlebars. Not a quick process, but it's not terribly long either. And you get it down here, and that's basically the bike folded in half. So I've always found that these folding bikes are a little bit cumbersome to pick up. So you may have to find out what's best for you. I've even seen people put them in large Rubbermaid totes to help pick it up easier. So if you have a large SUV that has high clearance, you can put the bike in standing up like that, or even in a tote. Otherwise, you can put it in, lay it down on its side. But again, it's not the easiest to pick up, but it is a folding bike. But it's awkward, it's cumbersome. But that's what it looks like folded up. So it is transportable for the most part, pretty easy without a bike rack, without a trailer, without any major assistance. And just like that, putting it back together is a cinch. Now, after riding this bike for a few times, I did come up with some pros and cons. I'm gonna be brutally honest with you, and these are just my opinion and my thoughts alone. That truck was really loud. Number one is the capacity of the battery. I feel is too small for a 1,000 watt motor. Although the bike's not terribly heavy, 1,000 watts peaking out 1,800 watts does put out a lot of power. And when you're going uphill a lot, or using just throttle, or going max speed the entire time, you're obviously gonna wear down the battery faster than normal. So you may not even get up to 25 miles like I got on my range test of this bike. If this was the 750 watt version, I think it would be suitable to have that capacity battery, but 14.4 amp hours is not really all that large. Maybe they don't have room for it with the size of the frame. I'm not certain. It is suitable, it is enough power, but I typically do bike rides of 30 miles plus. Not everyone's like that, but for my preference, I would want a larger capacity battery to go more than 25 miles. Now, as we've talked about, that may change over time with more recharge cycles breaking the battery cells in. This may go further over time, but regardless though, it is still a smaller capacity battery. It's only capable of doing so much. So that's one thing that I don't really like, but again, that's my preference. The other thing though, out of all the bells and whistles and features this bike has, it's lacking one important thing. If you haven't guessed it, a USB charging port. I don't know why companies don't put one out on their bikes. I think it should be a no-brainer. It should become standard with every bike out there, because you already have an electronic system doing lights, horn, turn signals, display. To put a USB charging port underneath your display or next to the control module is not taking up any large real estate, and it's not consuming a large portion of the battery. Some bikes only work as like trickle chargers. Some actually put out up to, I think, 15 watts of charging power. But any charging port is better than nothing. 90% of the people that do ride bikes do put a phone mount to have their phone on their handlebars so they can see what time it is, use GPS, listen to music. It's nice to be able to charge your phone while you're riding. So those are my two biggest complaints. Other than that though, I do feel it's a solid, more of a beginner entry style bike, but it has a powerful motor. So if you do want to get to speed quick, if you're in a hilly environment, or you have a larger payload to carry, this bike can do so with limitations. With that being said, if you want to get more information, including the latest pricing and details of this bike, they will be provided a link down below. I do want to thank the folks over at Hey Bike for sending the Ranger S out to me to review it and share it with all of you. With that being said, let's carry on with the rest of today's adventure. Okay, bike route. We're going to turn right here onto the closed Harris Road, which, yeah, it's open to bikes. This bridge is closed though. This is the one we were just looking at underneath. Huh. Maybe they're going to replace it, repair it, I'm not sure, but it's definitely closed to vehicles. So here's another section, and this is where the rail line does continue. There's Take a Book, Share a Book right there. So we are now back on the rail line. So that little detour just bypassed that bridge area. Another map area there, trail use. All right, continue on the LV, former private railroad of Albert Lewis. This looks like another nicely maintained section here. Packed down, crushed stone. So the other thing to point out too is that nearly the entire time it hasn't really quieted down all that much. We are paralleling businesses and roads nearly the entire time. So if you're looking for peacefulness, quietness, well, this may not be the trail for you, but it is local to businesses. So if you are hungry, or need to stop and get something, you're not that far away from civilization. So there's pros and cons depending on how you look at it, and I may have just found something down here to our left. So I noticed this little tiny trail coming down here, and I noticed a big rock feature, which I'm not certain if it's man-made or natural. Cross under this tree. Yeah, this is what I spotted. It is natural. Almost like it's a little cave area. It's like a little den. You could certainly take shelter under there if you wanted to. Yeah, it's a big rock outcrop just jetting out. Nice overhang there. And down here looks like a possible fishing spot. This pathway comes right down to Toby Creek. Same creek that had a mine subsidence in it last year. Okay, so nothing railroad related, nothing man-made, just a little natural spot. But that caught my attention. Figure is worth checking out. But let's continue on. And you just have to imagine trains rolling through here up until the early 1960s. This section appears to have no ruins or remnants as far as ties, foundations for signals, nothing of the sorts. Seems like everything that we found was in that previous area before we did the detour. This area is definitely a bit more wooded though. Loads of ferns and some big pines and other trees here. And now we are curving off to the right. So there's a bench here. It says, "Where are you going? Sit down, relax. It'll still be there tomorrow." Sometimes it's not always the case. We do have a really steep incline coming up to the road. Let me look on maps to see if this is where it's terminating. So it is listed on here as Back Mountain Trailhead and South Lehigh Street, but I don't know if there's another section beyond this, so I guess we'll get up there and find out. All right, we made it up. Here's a sign for bike route to the left. We're gonna do that. Okay, up here is an arrow to the left. We're turning onto Vine Street. This is a pretty quiet road, thankfully. No cars coming. Making it right onto Shaver Avenue. Also noticing too, you may hear it at various times in this video, this bike is making a slight noise, like right there, like under power. Something's rubbing. I think it's somewhere from like the brake caliper area. I may have to adjust it. It does it sporadically, but I've noticed it. You probably have as well. It's not affecting the performance of the bike, but like right there, climbing the hill, under duress, something is kind of flexing or bending and rubbing. Then when you kind of flatten out, it goes away. Another bike route sign up here, heading to the right. This is really well labeled, this trail. It says Shaver Ave to North Main. It's like we're now in Shavertown, passing the Shavertown Fire Department. So we've gone through, this is our third town now. We started in Luzerne, went through Dallas, and now Shavertown. Okay, here's the bike route. Right-hand turn onto Franklin Street. Use my turn signals. And then we have a left-hand turn right over this bridge. Looks like another trailhead. Yep, right here. I thought that was the end of it, but apparently this continues. Let me check my app. We'll see if we're back on the rail line. I'm assuming we are. Yes, this is still the Lehigh Valley. We're going to be paralleling North Main Street, then Main Street. And still by Toby Creek as well. So, line continued. I don't know how much farther this trail is going to go, but we're going to find that out one way or the other. I have to retract my previous statement. This section of trail is not near the road. Although there is a road over there, it's not like it was. It's much quieter back here, more dense and desolate. Really woodsy. Trail's a little rough here, certain patches of it. Oh, there's a tie there pushed off to the right. And we have Toby Creek on our left here. Yeah, definitely quieter back here. This is a nice area. Different sections have different offerings. Now from here, this might be a detour. Looks like the line would have continued straight, but we're going off to the right up here. Love that torque sensor. I could just pedal harder. Yeah, this is like a little detour. The line would have continued right there on our left-hand side, but the area's been altered. So line would have been off to our left. Okay, where the heck do we go now? Oh, we have to go up here on the road, make a left. So that was a short section there. Okay, we're gonna make a left here. I don't know the road, and we're turning, I think. No, it ends here. Bike route ends. We completed the entire route. Lower DeMunds Road and Terrace Street. That's where we are. We're on Terrace right now. That's Lower DeMunds, D-E-M-U-N-D-S, in case you're following along. And it says bike route ends. And we have done about 5 miles. So not terribly long, but we had a few different sections to navigate. So depending on where you're coming from, you can also start here and work your way towards Luzerne, where we're heading to now. I do find it a bit odd that they have the route turning left, but it ends at the bottom of that road, 50 yards down. Probably should have ended it like right here or on this section up here where we came out. So there's no real point in coming out beyond this point. This is more or less just access to the trail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a slow ride back. I'm going to keep my eyes peeled, see if there's anything I maybe missed. If so, we'll definitely check it out. Otherwise, I will see you somewhere near our starting point, and I'll let you know some final thoughts about the Back Mountain Trail, or gateway to the Back Mountain. Didn't make much progress, just for curiosity's sake. Came right down here. We passed this earlier, saying that's where the rail line would have went. Obviously it stopped because of the person's property up there. I did walk through there. There's just some ballast and a coal bed for where the rails and ties did sit. A couple ties pushed off to the side. That's about it. Then it's someone's property. But on my way back though, look what I found. It's like the smallest fire hydrant I've ever seen. And just for scale with my hand, it's like miniature scale for a garden scale train. Not realistically, but it is pretty small. I'm trying to see what it says on top here. It says open, must be just for the valve there. Yeah, I've never seen one that small. And it's along the rail trail here, so I thought that was kind of interesting and wanted to throw it in and share it with you guys. Well, this looks like a perfect little spot over here. This is gorgeous back here. That is a prime little location. Aside from the traffic, it's beautiful down here. Well, it took me a bit of time to find out about this trail, but I'm glad I did. This trail is actually pretty nice. A couple things I just want to reflect upon is that, number one, for the most part, it's a pretty smooth, manicured trail. It is maintained. There are some rough sections though, where there's some bigger rocks, tree roots. Obviously you have to contend with stairs, but they do have the ramps built in for bikes. It's broken up into different sections, so you have to go on the road for certain sections of it, but it is a shared bike lane road there, so it is for the most part pretty safe. Obviously practicing common sense goes a long way. Also, there's a couple things to see along the way. We definitely found some old ties still in their original locations. Some of them were pushed off to the side, but beyond that I didn't find anything as far as spikes, rails, any other hardware. But we definitely saw a foundation for the signal tower, some retention walls. We just saw that bridge abutment where the LV did cross over the road there, and also that world's largest 55-gallon drum. I don't know what that is other than just a primitive water tower, but there are things to see. There's areas that are close to the road, close to businesses, and some areas that are a little bit quieter and more desolate. But it is a overall great little trail. We did just over 10 miles, so it's not really lengthy. And hopefully this video shows you where you can access the trail and what to expect to see along it. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. Also to note too that the noise this bike was making has since stopped. So whatever was out of alignment has since corrected itself. So it's obviously much quieter now, not making any more of that noise under load, so to speak. So good news about that. The bike is operating as it should be. And it actually handled it perfectly fine. We are still at full battery. And although we've been relatively flat, I've been pedaling most of the way, it handled it pretty well. And I think most people on an e-bike or pedal bike can handle this trail section. And actually this trail is actually busier than I thought it would be. I haven't heard much about this trail. It's actually kind of like, in my opinion, not so well known, not talked about as much as other trails. But there's well over a dozen walkers and runners and a few bikers out here as well. It is a used trail. It's not overly crowded. We are here on a Tuesday afternoon. That's a nice, comfortable day out. So I'm sure weekends do see more traffic, but I'm happy with what we saw, and I definitely want to return to that one area. So I'll be looking for your comments down below to see what you think as well. Otherwise, I want to thank you so very much for coming along. And if you did listen to my little spiel about this e-bike, maybe this would be one you're interested in checking out for yourself as well. Help you explore some other rail trails in your area. But thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you in the next video.